Nice to meet you guys. My name is Peng Tao Dao, and if you have any questions, just call me Peng Tao. It's okay. Today we will talk about Python 3 basics. But before our topic, uh, I want to talk about something about other programming languages because I don't think all of you are interested in Python or R. So this is just a quick reference in case if you don't like Python or R at all. These are other programming languages. So here, if you want to design a website like like Facebook, you need to, I believe you need to learn PHP, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are popular choice. And if you want to develop your own app for iPhone or Mac or iPad, this is Swift and Objective-C, which provided by Apple. You need to learn them. And for the apps on Android platform, Java and C++ are the great choices for the game development, or if you want to develop your own or such kind of video platform like YouTube. You need C or C++, Java, and Python. If you want to develop a software for Windows and C#, which is a programming language provided by Microsoft. And you may need this too. And if you are interested in data science, the research or some production about data science, Python and R are popular one. So for the database, I think some of you may don't understand what is database. Database is a kind of software which can store and manage your data in a more efficient way. I believe almost all of your information, like Google account, your Facebook account, are stored in Google's or Facebook's database. So for the search engine and system, you may need C and C++, like Google or Windows, because the C or C++, they are much faster than almost all other programming languages. And of course, they are not all choices you have. Here I provide a link. If you open this link, you can see the ranking of each programming language. For example, this month, C is the number one, and the second one is Python, which shows the degree of popular of each programming language. So there are so many programming languages, and each of them has its own advantage in some special area. Maybe. So here's Swift, which is Apple's programming language. And also it shows the tendency of the popular ones and other programming languages like Objective-C.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Are these like people's opinions of which one is their favorite one to use, or the one that's most often used, or is it based on, I mean, how are they ranked? Are they?
It's I believe there is a a vote. There's a vote who are using who is using this one or who like this one based on this kind of degree.
So number 20 may be the best possible language to get some specific thing done, but it's 20th because it's not used that much. Even though it may be the best thing for this specific application, it could still be number 20 because C is used so much more often for other applications. Does that make sense?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
It also, I believe it also depends on the job. You know, if there is a later job says about production, you need to use this one, AWK. So AWK won't be a popular one because if you learn AWK, you cannot get a job. I believe this is also a factor here.
Yeah, and I think the kind of MATLAB is relatively specific and has its own power in solving some matrix related problems. And also the MATLAB is not an open source software, so kind of not all people can use it. So most of the people, most of the users are academia users. So, but like R and Pro is relatively old. And also there is one is kind of called SAS. SAS is a very specific statistical software, but it's also not open source. Most of it, the users are in academia or at drug company. So it's not shown here. So kind of it's too specific. So I think MATLAB may also have certain of this reason. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe here most of them are open source. Open source means you can use them for free. So if you are interested in other programming languages, you can Google it and to know what it can do. So let's go to our topic, Python. This is a roadmap of our topic, Python or R, and Python IDEs, and how to choose a Python IDE and a Python tutorial. So first, it is maybe confusing why I need Python if I have learned R. So here, Python, the answer is that they have their own advantages. Like for Python, if you want to design or you want to develop a production of about data analysis or the video platform like I mentioned before, you may need a Python. Or if you want to do research in the area of deep learning, machine learning, computer vision, this kind of areas, Python is the more popular one. And otherwise, if you are interested in the research of statistical learning or bioinformatics, R is a good one. And sometimes you may need to learn both of them. I can give you a simple example to show how or why R is popular in statistical. Say, for example, we have a data. This is in Python. For example, we have our data 1 to 4, and we want to know the mean of this data. And just run it. The name error is name mean is not defined. It means there is no built-in mean function in Python. You have to, here, you have to import other package to do this simple job. So if we import this statistics package, and we have our data 1 to 4, we want them the mean of this data. I just run it, we can get the mean is 2.5. But if you have a R, the same thing is that we cite a data, say, a data 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to know the mean of this data. It can give you the answer directly because this mean function is a built-in function in R. And of course, there are so many this kind of statistical learning functions like a mean or max. You can have the maximum one is 2. And of course, you can also plot the data. You can get this kind of graphic, the figure to show the tendency of this data. But this kind of a convenient function is not available in Python. You have to import another package to do such kind of statistical learning things, which is easier in R. There are two versions. There are two versions of Python. There's Python 3 and Python 2. But my recommendation is please use Python 3 because the Python group no longer maintains Python 2 anymore. So if we go to this this website, this is the official Python website. Here, welcome to Python. You can get to know everything about Python, like the applications of a Python, how to use it, and what can you do? What we can do to use Python? We can design web and internet development, email processing, and also the scientific and numeric things. We can even design the desktop GUIs, but I don't think it's a popular choice. Most of others use C or C++ or Java to do this kind of job. Because if you use if you are desktop GUIs, it means the interface of your software. If you use Python to do this kind of job, it may be slow. And also you can download all releases of Python, the history versions. You can get older versions, the latest versions, and the community. You can talk about your issues with others. And the news about Python. There's also a tutorial provided by Python group. This is the link, the Python tutorial. Here you can know almost all basics of Python. But I don't think it's easier for you, for some students or some Python beginners to learn because it might be a little, it may make you confused if you know nothing about Python, or even you know nothing about what is programming language. For example, here it says you can using the Python interpreter, but I don't think you know. I don't think most of students know what is a Python interpreter, and I barely use it. Next, we're going to talk about the Python IDE. IDE is
Before you move into this slide, we had a couple of questions in the chat, like which of those versions do you suggest that the students have from that downloads area? You know, where you were at on the webpage for Python where you could get the downloads, which version?
I will talk about this later.
Later. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Here, I'm going to talk about the Python IDE and how to choose one of them, how to use them. First is Python Online IDE. So if you don't want to use Python anymore, you just want to know what is Python, and you just want to experience it, just Google Python IDE and choose one of them you like this one. You can get the 2 boxes. Tap your code here. Like for example, print hello world, and then run. You can get the output. And if you want to do some sum operation, A is 1 and B is 2, you can print A plus B and then run. You can get the output 3. And you can also use this shell, like say is 2, say is 3, D is 4, and print say plus D. You can get 7. So the good thing is to use this online IDE is that you don't need bother to install a Python on your local laptop or your computer, because it might be a little bit more difficult than the installation of R. So if you just want to know what is Python and know how to use Python, just the basics of Python, you can use this kind of a Python online editor. But the bad thing is that you cannot save the code. If you refresh this website, all of them got cleared. And for example, if I tap say again, it shows namespace is not defined. It is not defined because the system, this online system, have cleared your variable say. So another online IDE is provided by Google. It's called Google Colab. How to use this Google Colab? You can just search Google Colab. And welcome to Colab and to this website, and sign in your Google account. It requires you have to have a Google account. If you got signed in, just click here, File, a new notebook. Google sign in required, so I can use this one, which I got signed in. Just File, press the File, and click the new notebook. Like say you can get you have created your own Python notebook file. Rename here like Python 3 the advantage of using this this collab provided by Google is that first it has first all of your files will be stored in Google's database. You can modify it anywhere, anytime if you have a browser. But for this one, if you refresh it, if you refresh this one, all of them got cleared. You lose all of them. Like, see, nothing, just a print hello world. And another good thing is that this collab provided by Google is more stable than the others. But as to how to use it, you first, for example, we have an empty file, so we can plus code here, and you can get this kind of box. Just type in your code, like print hello. Print hello world and click this run. You can get the output. And if I want to add another code box, then here, A is 1 and B is 2. I want to get the sum of them and plus A plus B. Then run this code, you get 3. There and there are a lot of other Python IDEs like PyCharm. If you have a big project which contains many files, like you want to design a Python website like Reddit, Facebook, you may need this PyCharm. I provide a link. I provide a link here, a YouTube link to tell you how to install this. And if you just have a very small project, we just has several Python files. VS Code might be a good choice because if you want to use PyCharm on your local computer or your local laptop, you have to have the big memory, a little bit high performance computer. And a Spider is another Python IDE, which is like our studio. And also Jupyter. Jupyter is the local version. Jupyter is the local version of Google Colab. They have similar interfaces like this. If you are interested in other IDEs, you can go to here or here, the Python IDEs, and experience them one by one until you can get any one of them you like. But my recommendation is that if you know nothing about Python, these two are your first choices, because as I said before, the installation of a Python is not easier as the R's. I believe some of the students or some of the beginners just quit before they type in the first code, print hello world. They even don't know how to install a Python. Someone may tell you, oh, you need Anaconda. to manage your package, but what is Anaconda? What is the package? I know nothing. So I quit Python. So I recommend this first two for a Python beginner. And I believe if you can use them well, you can use all of others well. Because they have the similar patterns to run your code. They have a similar this kind of Python interpreters, the type your code, get your output, and but this Google Colab and this kind of online editor can help you to focus on the Python grammar itself, but not how to use the tool. If you don't understand what is Python, what is IDE, or I know someone even don't know what is the difference between R and RStudio. Also, they may don't know what is the difference between Python and what is the Google Colab. So if we think Python is, if we think programming language is like a real language, like a Python here, or English here, or R, or Japanese, French, Chinese, the IDE is a software like Word provided by Microsoft. It helps you. This IDE is a kind of software, a tool to help you finish your Python project or R project in an efficient way. For example, here, I want to print something. It'll give you the hint. Just to select this one. You don't need to tap all the characters of a print. And sometimes even I don't know the name of some functions, then you can it will give you automatically. Like for example, the max function, say max map. About this IDEs, what I want to say is that just to pay attention or pay more attention on the Python grammars, how to use Python, but not the tools. That's why this kind of online editor can help you a lot to learn Python or to learn R. I know a lot of students are using the RStudio Cloud, which is also a online version of RStudio. Here's some student. Someone want to know use what the release for this collab, the latest one. You can just use the default one, the default version provided by Colab. Like we want to know the Python.y.
There's a question in the chat wondering how you don't have to change A and B to integers or floating point numbers before you add them.
Oh, let me see. How come you do not have to change A and B to integers or floating point numbers before you add them? Not this one. Oh no. If just A and B, it shows the result is 3. Why? Because this collab remembers every variables you defined. Because we define A is 3, 2, 1, and B is 2. So collab remembers these two variables. But if
Yeah, I think the question is like the yeah. So yeah, Aya and Rishi is making the discussion. So and I think yeah, I think it's about the default kind of if Python recognize the variable as a default as a numeric number or string. I think Rishi has already kind of answer this. Yeah, thank you.
sorry.
Yeah. I think Pano can go ahead to continue the introduction. Yeah.
Okay. The why Python is easier for beginner because it can identify the variables automatically. Like you can set A is 1 or A is 1.3. The Python will identify it automatically. You don't need to mention A is an integer or is a floating number. Like say A is 3, B is 2 and print A plus B. You can get this. Or even A is 1 and A is AB and B is CD. You can get ABCD. That's why it's a good. That's why Python or R is a good choice. Are good choices for programming language beginners. I know in other programming languages like C, you need to define it. You need to define it before you're using it. Like in C, or C++. If you want to use one, if you want to add to some, you need to int A is 1 and int B is 2, this kind of grammar, and add them say A plus B. This is usage style in C or C++. Of course, here I'm not gonna run it because this is a Python environment. But in C or C++, if you add 1.3, if A is 1.3, here it will show you an error. So in Python, you don't need to consider these kind of things. Just define what you want, or even it's 1.2. You can also go 3.2. So let's talk about the Python grammars. Usually, the first example is how to print hello world. And it also shows you how to use this software or this online tool. Just print it, print the output. Click here. You can get its output. Hello world. And the first thing I need to say that the rules of naming the Python variables, like this is called a variable, like my name, or A is called a Python variable. So how to name this? How to give a name? Your variable must start with a letter or the underscore character, not number or space. For example, to test, this is a legal one. Or this is a legal symbol, my test illegal one, and a space between them is not correct. And the number, like this is also wrong. Illegal Python variables. Let's say what will happen if we run it. Say invalid syntax. So don't name your Python variables like this. And another rule is that the variable can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Like my name is Python name 1, or this is a correct one. Also a correct one, underscore my name, and my name underscore, and with the underscore. So if we run it, we can get the output, Python name 1, Python name 2, and Python name 3. These two are not unusual, but they are legal. And the variable name is case sensitive, like the big case, the small case. So if we run it, oh, sorry, I forgot to print. They are different. The first my name, the output is Python name 1. And the second, the small case, my name is Python name 2. Another rule is that don't use the Python 3 reserved keywords as a variable name. If we import this keyword, we can get almost all the reserved keywords. They are built in. You can think they are built-in names. You can use all of them to avoid some unexpected issues. Like R, I forgot to mention that, like R, this is if a line starts with a number sign, it is an annotation. It is called an annotation, and Python will skip this line. For example, if I number sign and print test1 and print test2 and run it. We can only get test2 because the first line just did. And these are two other annotation styles. This annotation to help the user to remember or interpret the code. So, for example, I want to I define a, for example, if I define a Python variable like names, which is their, for example, their name is x1, x2. If they are the names of my classmates, but maybe several years I forgot all of them. I don't know what is it, why I define this. So here you can add an annotation here. Names is a list or it's a variable of my classmate. This is the function of this kind of annotation. Help you remember the code, to interpret the code. And you just need to remember Python won't run this length, this kind of length. It will skip them. It's okay. A good habit of naming your variable will help you avoid many unexpected issues. Then we will talk about the Python variable types. There are 6 standard data types in Python 3. It's number, string, list, tuple, cite, and dictionary. We're gonna talk about them one by one. For a number, we can define set of A is 1 and B is 2.3. This is the integer, this is floating number. This is called a Boolean. This is called a Boolean number. It only has 2 elements. True or false. And this is complex number. So if we run this, we can say A is 1, the type is int, B is 2.3, this type is a float, and C is true, and this type is bool. D is 3 plus 4J, is complex number. And this is a simple way or a clear way to define the variables. Just put them in one line. So if we run it, we can set the same thing. A is int, B is a float number, C is a Boolean number, and D is a complex number. Then we can go through the basic operations. 1 plus 1. We run it, we can count 1 plus 1. 1 minus 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. And the division 2 over 4, we can get 0.5. This is to get the quotient 3 over 2 is just get the quotient part of the results, which is 1. And this percent symbol is to get the remainder. It's, let me see. The remainder is 2. And the 2 power of 3, which is 8. So these are the basic operations on number in Python. We will talk about the more complicated operations later. And about the string, the data type string, we can define a string like this. The part before this, the equal, is the variable name. You can name it anyone you like if it is legal. So if I define my str is Python 3, so run it, we can get the full string is Python 3. But if we want to get the second to the fourth one, we can use this a bracket and 2 to 5, like THO here. It is called slicing. Python. And if we want to reverse the string, we can use this kind of grammar. And the time here, this times here, it doesn't mean we use this my string times 2. It means print it 2 times. See, Python 3 and Python 3. If we change it to 3, we can get Python 3, Python 3. That means print it 3 times. The first two are very simple and basic data types in Python. But for the list, it will be a little bit more complicated. So list is another data type in Python. List can include different objects, number, string, and a symbol or list. If you want to empty a list, we want to define an empty list. Just type it like this. My list equals an empty. This is another way. This is another way to empty a list or to set up an empty list. If we run it, we get an empty list, and this is also an empty list. They have the totally same output. If we initialize a list like this, Python 3, it's a programming language. So it can contain the number, string, or symbol. Just like string, if we want to get the first element of this list, we can print my list 0. The index starts from 0, means Python. This is the 0 one, the first one, second one, the third one. And if we want to get the second to third element of this, the list we defined, we can use this sentence, 2 to 4. Remember here, the 2 is included but not 4. And what if we want to get the output from second to the last? We can use this sentence. Print here is to the last one. Oh, sorry, this one. This one is a programming language. Its range is 0 to 4. Actually, it's not correct if I say second to third. Actually, it's third. It is third. It's third to fourth because it starts from 0. And the same thing, if you want to print a list 2 times, just my list times 2, say it give you Python 3 is a programming language and Python 3 is a programming language.
May I ask a question?
Oh, yes, please.
Why does it start on 0 instead of 1? Like Python is a programming language.
Yeah,
Python is counted as 0, and then is 1, and a is 2, right?
yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason actually, but most of the programming language starts from 0. And some of the other programming languages like R, it starts from 1, right?
Thank you.
And here, the plus is not mean we plus these 2 lists, we link them. Like if I initialize second list, it is great. It contains 3 elements. 8 is great. Then plus them, we can get the output. Python 3 is a programming language. It is great. So if we want to update the list, just use the index of the element and the new element you want. So if we want to update the 0, the 0, 1, just use this sentence. My list 0 is R. Then run it, we can get it. R3 is a programming language, not Python. This is the way to update the list, the elements of the list. And if we want to delete the element, we can use this one. For example, we have a list that contains 3 elements, 1, 2, 3, and we want to remove 2. Say you get 1 and 3 here. The element 2 got deleted. And another one to delete the element is the function pop, P-O-P, and it will delete the last element of the list. Say we can just get the output of the 1 and 2. So the last one got removed. What if we want to add other element to the list we have defined. We can use this function, this kind of sentence, append. Like my original list is my list, which contains 1, 2, 3, and append 4. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4 is gonna appended or added into this old list. So we were going to talk about a tuple and cite and dictionary and how to use the if-else loop and how to define your own functions tomorrow. I see the time is running out. So do you have any other questions about Python or?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So if you want to have the enter like a set of numbers and then find the maximum and the minimum and then have it print like maximum is and then minimum is, would you use like a try and accept thing? So like set largest equal to none and smallest equal to none, and then have the user input numbers, and then I don't know, how would you go through that?
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
So do you mean how to compute the kind of the minimal or maximal of a series?
Yes.
So just how to compute the kind of smallest or largest value in a set of variables.
Python provided the basic functions like max or min. So if you have a serious number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can get the maximum one is 5. And also the minimum one. You get a 1.
What about if you want to have someone input numbers and then it calculate the maximum amount of the numbers that were inputted?
You mean you want to input your own numbers?
So you want to input it on the screen, is that correct? Or how do you want to input? There are many ways.
You want the Python get your input, not input like this. Is that correct?
She may be asking about like a data set possibly.
Oh, so yeah, so there are multiple ways to do the data input. One is kind of directly load the data from external files, or kind of download data from certain web link. So I believe Pengtao will mention this later. And
right.
yeah, and also you can define it in the kind of just in your script. Yeah, and also yeah.
The students have a guest speaker that starts at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's wonderful that we have these questions like, does Python if else work similar to the C++? But we also need to go over to that other meeting. Students, would you all say thank you so much? This was a great introduction. Those of you who have a lot of program experience, I am positive that this will start moving faster. But for those of us who don't have much, this was magnificent. Thank you. Really well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.